introduce my topic and give some context. I think we've had a phenomenal lineup of speakers and panel discussions. And I'd really like to thank the organizers of the talk for putting up such a well-curated session of topics. What I'm going to talk about is distrapreneurship, which is a combination of the word disruption and entrepreneurship. And I think it segues perfectly from the panel discussion we had where we're looking at how to create original ideas and how to create more jobs. So that's something that's very close to what we do at Kalyani Studio. And I'd like to share some approach that I have developed through our experience here in how you can be a disruptive entrepreneur. And I'd really like Paritosh's talk as well. It was phenomenal, and I think a lot of ideas apply here as well. So yeah, now we got the presentation. So the topic is creating opportunities. Yeah, creating opportunities through disruption. So just wanted to get a sense of how many entrepreneurs are in this room. Can you raise your hand if you identify yourself as an entrepreneur? Okay, that's a pretty good majority. And I'm speaking as an entrepreneur myself, so I can relate to a lot of the issues that you may be grappling with, and I'll give you some first-hand accounts, hopefully that could be of relevance. So when we're talking about distrapreneurship, we're looking at disrupting an entirely existing set of ideas or an industry or a market and completely coming up with something new. I think you can see that with Patanjali is a phenomenal example of that, where you're disrupting the FMCG space and using some core knowledge like Ayurveda and Yoga, which has been part of the core strength of this country, right? So that's what distrapreneurship can do, and we are really poised at this point in history to disrupt a lot of industries in India. Because for the last hundreds of years, we've been taking a lot from other countries, and now it's time we can start giving. And I really feel passionately about that. So I've come up with 5 keys to distrapreneurship, and I will go into detail on all of them. First is having a courageous vision, not just a vision, but a courageous one. Then having meaningful purpose, having a winner's mindset, being truth-seeking, which is somewhat opposite to having a winner's mindset, and I'll talk about how you can do both. And then relentless execution. So to give some context on how Kalyani Studio has been disrupting an industry, I think this will give more of a real-world example. What we're doing in Kalyani Studio is creating an entirely new science of high strength. And we're looking at the engineering, research, and development industry to create a niche and specialized body of knowledge around strength. And what I mean by strength is the physical strength of physical products. There's been a big digital wave of startups, of new innovations over the past, say, 10 years or 20 years, starting with the IT revolution. But I think we've forgotten about physical products. And if we're looking at something like Internet of Things, where you're combining digital and physical, you have to get physical product capability up to the same level as digital ones as well, because digital innovation is skyrocketing thanks to things like Moore's law and things like that. I hope I'm these terms are familiar. If they're not, you can interrupt me and ask questions. So what we do is we're combining different existing disciplines like design thinking, metallurgy, mechanical engineering, manufacturing engineering, maybe mathematics as well. And the combination of these disciplines are used to create a new set of science, a new set of body of knowledge to come up with better performing products. So the end result would be high performance of physical products It could be along the lines of strength, static load-bearing capability, dynamic load-bearing capability, motion, thermal properties, fatigue life, and things like that. So all of the stuff that happens under the hood, like you're looking at the Volvo car outside, you need to know why is it a smooth ride. It's because of the physical components underneath and how they interact with each other, the vibrations, the control of vibrations, the fuel efficiency, and so on. So all that happens because of strength and a lot of properties around that. So that's what we're doing. And we work around the entire life cycle of products, working with research and development teams of a lot of OEMs and tier ones. The whole Make in India movement, we want to evangelize and support that movement through design in India and engineer in India. It's not going to be just set up a factory of an MNC here and then become a China or another China. We should definitely not do that. Again, as Paritosh said, that knowledge is our biggest asset. I really believe in that. So it goes through the entire product life cycle, from research and engineering to detailed design, prototyping, engineering analysis, and end-of-life support services. So how do you go about creating a courageous vision and meaningful purpose? These are big words. It's easy to say, but it takes a lot of practice. And as an entrepreneur, having courageous vision means you really got to look at your eyesight. How are you seeing things around you in your journey? How are you observing your industry, your customers, your suppliers, your employees, your stakeholders, the entire ecosystem? Are you paying attention to the different patterns? Are you finding patterns in common, what 100 people say? And then the courageous part comes when you think that, no, I do not agree with all these 100 people. I think it's the opposite of that. And if you get that thought, then don't kill it. Start nurturing that thought. Give it a chance to rise and succeed. Test it out. And you have to have a contrarian vision. That's what it means to disrupt. You cannot disrupt any industry unless you have this courageous vision. From that courageous vision, you can then develop a meaningful purpose. So the vision is what you want to see in the future, and the purpose is why you want to do it. You have to get both things. You have to be sure of both things. The purpose propels you to move forward. I think that's also something that came up with Patanjali, right? So the purpose we talk about is to create new high-strength technology and new high-tech jobs in India. That is our main purpose at Kalyani Studio. And we know that we will only succeed if we get these things right, if we see high-strength jobs and high-strength technologies getting created.